Hi, this is Alex Namath, and I'm joined with Laura Lester today. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Alex.
Hi. So today we want to talk to you about sharing the diagnosis now with family and friends. It can be difficult for some people. We'd like to give you some tips and strategies along that line.
So, why is it hard to share about life with dementia?
Sometimes it's very difficult because it's so overwhelming to you personally and painful that sharing, a lot of people don't really know how to do it, or sometimes like me, for instance, I felt like I really just didn't even have the capacity to tell people, everything that was going on. And I had some fear that if I did just dump on everybody what was going on in my life, that they would run away. And I didn't want my friends to run away. But ultimately they did anyway.
Sure. And I think in many ways, the more you talk to family and friends about the disease, the easier it will be for yourself.
Yeah.
So we've got to get that out on the table. And the fact is, it's an incurable disease. So you're telling your friends and family that your loved one, husband, spouse,
mom, dad,
is dying.
Yeah.
And we really don't know how long they're going to live, because that's
Right.
a question that they're going to be thinking whether they ask you or not. You don't have an answer to that question. But knowing that in your conversations with them makes it extremely difficult. So you're reliving that diagnosis pretty much every time you're telling people about what happened.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen in multiple instances. You're not going to have all family together where you can discuss it. So it's going to be an individual conversation. Same thing with friends. They're not going to have a group of friends where you talk about the diagnosis and what you're going through. So in many ways, you're going to have to get comfortable with that. I know as hard as that is in the beginning, no different than a diagnosis of cancer or any other life-threatening disease.
It's a little bit different than cancer because this disease affects the brain. So it affects the behavior of your loved one. And that's very difficult. It's very difficult because you are envisioning your loved one as they always have been.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, sometimes they feel like a completely different person and they're accusing you of things that you would never do. And it's just their behavior changes. And so it can be very hurtful and painful. And so, yeah, it is a deadly disease like cancer, but in a lot of ways it's more painful because it's damage to their brain, which controls everything.
Sure. And most of the people are on that journey for 10 to 15, sometimes 20 years.
Yeah.
So you've got to be cognizant of that as well.
So what are some good ways to explain dementia to your friends? How do you go about it?
I'd say the best way is to be simple and direct with it. Just say, hey, mom, dad, spouse has been diagnosed with dementia, so things are a little different now. We would really appreciate your understanding and your patience, but we want you to still be around. So we need support, and we would love to have it. Just don't expect everything to be perfect, because it's not going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, symptomatically, especially if it's Alzheimer's, it's going to be short-term memory is that which is affected first.
Yeah.
You may have already noticed that. In fact, I bet family and friends have noticed it already. May have not even brought it to the attention of the caregiver themselves. So in some ways, there's a relief for everybody to start talking about it. That now you understand, they understand that we've got an issue going forward.
Are there any examples or ways to help family and friends process what's going on in the loved one's brain? Like, so that way they understand. We have dementia is a word, right? But what exactly that means for the person that is in your life, like what that looks like.
Basically, their brain is damaged. They have brain damage, and the brain controls everything in the body. So, and each person is individual, but there's some common behaviors, but each person is individual. So every case is different because every person's different.
That's right. And what I described to you today, talking to friends and family, those symptoms may be different tomorrow.
That's
Or
true.
there may be additional symptoms. There will be, in fact, as
Yeah.
they journey through the disease itself. I think the other thing, Laura, is that caregivers oftentimes feel guilty, like somehow they had something to do with it, or they're ashamed that their
Yeah.
loved one has this disease.
Yeah.
There should no one should be ashamed of
Yeah,
it.
it's a disease.
Nothing that you did.
That's right.
This is a disease. No one knows why someone gets the disease.
Right. And your loved one may say embarrassing things, and you're embarrassed.
Right.
And you're in a situation where your loved one is saying things that are just way off the wall, and you know that whoever they're saying them to is unaware of their diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happened to me many times.
Mm-hmm.
But the Alzheimer's Association has these little cards that you can buy.
Right.
And they say, please be patient. The person I'm with has dementia. If you just slip that to the person that's encountering your loved one,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they'll calm down and say, oh, okay, that's what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you feel the need to share, not everybody does, how do you set helpful expectations for yourself about how those who don't know what dementia is, like how they might respond?
Well, I think some people naturally share, and we've all been around people that share too much, right? I mean, we wish they didn't share as much as they did. I mean, if that's who you are, we're not trying to change who you are, right? And if you've been around the same friends forever, they know you overshare. So still be who you are. But I say, generally speaking, short and simple is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah. You can say something like, Mom likes to play cards. The rules may change a little bit. Don't expect it to go the way it used to go.
That's right.
But just being together is what's important. And enjoying doing something together is important.
Yeah, and you can, if people want to know more information, more than you want to share, again, Alzheimer's organization is a great resource. There's many books out there today that describe it. I just had a husband and a wife come to my home for dinner, and I recommended for him to read a book to get up to speed so he could understand, and again, so he could be able to better communicate with the family about what's going on.
What are some options if you don't have anybody to talk to? If you don't feel like you have people in your world, or you don't feel comfortable talking with the people in your world about the diagnosis and life with dementia?
I think church, hopefully you're a person of faith.
That's you need God.
First people you go to. You've relied on them before for other things that have been going on in your life. That's somewhere in churches, there are typically support groups. And many of the larger churches are going to have support groups specific to those with dementia. So I would always go to my church. If you don't have a church, again, you go to Google and local support groups in my area that can help me through the journey that I'm on.
Is it okay to have spaces where you don't talk about dementia and life with it?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. If you get a break, say for instance, your loved one is at our center and you've got 8 hours to just do what you want to do. So you decide to go to lunch with your girlfriends for the first time in a long time. It's perfectly okay not to talk about it, or to open with something like, I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis, what's going on in my life, and then I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to be me for a while, not the caregiver. And you certainly have permission to do that, and it'll give you some respite, and it'll make you feel better. I guarantee you.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's really important, and that sets the boundary right for them, so they don't feel like they have to ask you more questions because then they don't seem sympathetic to what's going on with you.
Right.
At the same time, they know, okay, it's over and we're moving forward.
Yeah. So we're going to talk. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. This is what's going on. This is what you can do, and then we don't want to talk anymore about that. And I think that'll take your friends off the hook also.
So appreciate you listening today. Hopefully it'll help in your sharing of it. You can see that we encourage you to share it
Yeah.
with your closest friends. Understanding though that as the disease progresses, unfortunately, some of your friends may drop off.
Yeah. Just because they don't know it. It's not their fault. They don't know how to deal with it. So they just kind of back away a lot of times.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They come back though.
Mm-hmm. They do. Your true friends will reveal themselves
Yeah.
as you go through the journey.
Yeah.
Going forward as well. So we appreciate that. Thanks for watching today. Comment below. We'd love to get back to you with your own specific questions about it. Thank you.